You mentioned how you still like this team even after, in the mode that you guys are in at this point. You guys still seem to be in a free fall. What do you want to see in the interim?
We're not in a free fall. It's early part of the season, and we're losing a bunch of close games, and we can see it on tape every game. Fouling, turnovers. I can only say it so many times. Those two things have to improve. When they do, we're going to be really good.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
All right, my ears will be ready for Steve to start his answer to one of our questions before we're done asking it. That's the tell.
Yeah.
That's the tell as to when someone's frustrated. That's what Clay did to Kawakami the other day. And
you benching me?
Yeah, they're frustrated.
You benching me?
You coaching?
You benching?
You coaching?
Seriously. Although Chris did let her finish the question before he said,
"Look, I get it.
Coaching.
I mean,
you whopping?
Stop whopping me.
Totally.
Stop whopping me.
It's great.
I don't want it to sound like we're trying to ask the Warriors to stop being mad. The fans are mad too. I wonder, like, the best that I can do. It seems to me that's the focus of the fan frustration. There's two things that really, you know what I mean? Like when it gets you going before it's even really happened, when Clay pulls up early in the shot clock from deep with a man in his face, you're mad before you even know if the ball goes in or not. You're like, oh, baby, here we go.
Here we go.
And when you see Draymond start yelling at the ref and he won't let it go, same reaction. Oh, here we go. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. And so that's what interests me is the Warriors are going to do it the same way. They always have every time. But what happens when those two things really reach their boiling point, which is either you're totally worn out by it as a franchise or, more importantly, it's not working anymore. Like, those things have got to be combined with winning, or else they will wear everybody out. You have to win, or all the stuff that people put up with, they're not going to put up with it anymore.
Right, and you're not winning right now, and when you're losing games like that, and I'm looking at the ESPN win probability, and you go up 72-48 in that second quarter, and the WP, the win probability is 97.8%. And I know it's the second quarter, and it's an NBA game, so it really doesn't matter in terms of, should you win that game in the second quarter, but it's almost halftime.
Right, but what pops to my mind is they're at 72 before halftime, and they only ended up with a $123.
51 more. Yeah.
In 2+ more quarters, you only scored another 51.
Right, and you gave up 69, which was the problem. And the third quarter got a little bit away from you. You gave up 40 points, but still, you go into that final quarter and you're up by 9, and you felt like you still were in control, even though you lost GP2 and CP3 was gone early, and we're still waiting to hear about both of them. Maybe Steve Kerr can enlighten us at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, game for me, like, it's funny you say, you're still in control going into the fourth. You're in control as soon as Wiggins gets that putback.
What a great putback.
Great putback. The game's over right then, provided that you simply have players on your team catch your passes. That's all you had to do. Have teammates catch your passes. They didn't do that. And therefore they found a way. They found a way to lose the game.
Well, those passes were uncatchable. Steph threw it to no one.
Right.
And Draymond Green also.
That's what I'm saying.
Threw it to no one. But the Wiggins tip in for his 29th point. Yes, Andrew, I will not be doing my K-Wig, though we know Andrew Wiggins impersonation today. Tip in with 59 ticks left. You go up 5.
Up by 5.
That should be
night.
Thank you.
You've got it. All you got to do is just take care of the ball from there. That's all you had to do. And
Curry, bad pass turnover. Green, bad pass turnover. Curry missed 37-footer, and that's how it goes. Wow.
Steve Kerr in 2 hours and 22 minutes right here on Willard and Dibs. let's get out to you at 888-957-9570. We'd love to talk to all of you today. How about Vince in the city? Hi, Vince. You're on with Willard and Dibs.
Hey, what's up, fellas? First, I wanted to talk about Clay. Like, I know Clay's getting bashed and everything. He's not playing well, but, I mean, it's just facts. He's not playing well. So my question about that is, when they brought Iguodala over, they talked him into deciding to come off the bench. So why is it so hard for them to get Clay to do something similar? That's the first part. The second part is another spot on the court that I think is a weakness, and it's the big man. Dario Saric is soft. He can't do anything in the paint. I feel like he can't do anything in the paint. He misses so many bunnies that are like 3, 4, 5 feet away. I just think we need a big body bruiser in there to kind of, handle a dude like Sabonis who practically commits an offensive foul half the time of the game, where he just lowers his shoulder and just throws it into the guy's chest to create space and goes up, and then he gets fouled.
Yeah, Vince, I think these are good points. Thanks, man. Okay, let's go step by step. The first one, why is it so hard to move Clay with his role and whatnot? I don't know that it is. I don't know that they've tried. It certainly sounds, when we hear him talk, like Clay would not be open to it. I don't even know that that's the right move right now. Like, here's what I would say is the starter. For me, it's a night like last night. When Clay says to Tim Kawakami, what, you want to bench me? No. Don't want to bench you.
Kinda.
No, I don't. I don't want Clay out of the starting lineup. I would like there to be an openness to go a different direction when it feels in the moment like you should go in a different direction, okay? Like, what happened last night is almost Bochy versus Kapler, okay? Use the gut. The gut was telling all of us, keep Moses Moody on the floor. Do whatever you got to do to keep him on the floor. And if that means taking someone out you wouldn't normally take out right then do it. Do it. As opposed to, well, Clay, you know what I mean? Like if Gabe was answering this question, Clay is our closer.
Right.
And Clay comes in these moments because 4 minutes to go, close game, that's what we do. All right. And I think we all know from a fan perspective what we'd rather see. And so, sure, I would have rather seen Moses Moody get a chance, at least for a few more possessions. As long as that heater was going, let it keep going.
In place of Clay in that moment?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you're going to put Andrew back in, which they did, and he explained, and I get it. That made sense to me. We want Wiggins to guard Fox. Great. Put him in the game and take out Clay. So people are saying, why is that so hard? I don't know that it is. I don't know that Clay would implode mentally if you did that. They've never tried.
Right. Maybe it's more about not having the same level of faith in Moses Moody. And I'm looking at the game log right now. It's 4:26 to go. Moody hits his second consecutive three, by the way, because they're down one, and Moody hits a three, you're up two, and then Vezenkov hits a deep three.
That boy.
And then Moody with the answer.
Yep.
Back-to-back threes from Moody, you go up two. Clay commits an offensive foul on a screen, like the 13th time that happened to the Warriors. And then in comes Wiggins. Moody goes out with 4:26 to go, and that was it for Moody.
That was it. And by the way, and we've heard this point made by many, Moody wasn't just hitting the shots each possession there. He was hitting the post-possession shots as well. He had a couple that didn't count. He was not hitting the rim. The ball was just splash, 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 everywhere he was all over the floor. He was in the zone. You don't take someone out when they're in the zone, in my opinion. Unless, of course, you're sort of coming from that different place, which is Clay stayed in because resume.
Right.
That's a tough thing to pass by the goalie right now.
You scored 7 more points the rest of the way. Curry had 5, Wiggins had 2, Clay had 0, Draymond 0, Looney 0, and all the rest of it. So it's not like you put Clay in and he, hit a couple of big shots and you could justify it that way. Clay didn't. I mean, Wiggins went in for Moody, but Clay was already in there. But Clay did not contribute. I'm looking at Clay in the fourth quarter log, and I don't believe he scored in the fourth quarter, Mark.
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. The other point that he made, he called Saric soft and said there needs to be more of a dirty work big guy on the team. It's just funny. This comes up every year. I don't even disagree, but they don't have that. They've never valued that. They don't go with that. They haven't really had someone who fills that role maybe since Bogut. Like they just don't. They don't go that way. And Šarić is really good at what he does, and that's not really what he does. He's not you're right. He's not the perfect inside banger. That's not what he does. It's what Looney does sometimes. Looney's having kind of a little bit of a rough year so far, I'd argue. It has not been great.
Right. But I think that you're always asking Looney to do things that he's not really built to do. He's 6'9" with, I don't know what his vertical is, but it's probably not more than 20 inches.
Oh, no.
And I mean,
maybe.
It's hard to tell, but these guys are all better athletes than I will ever be. I'm not trying to disrespect Kevon Looney. I would never do that, but he's not a rim protector. He's not a guy who's going to go up there and sweep the glass at 12 feet, 6 inches above the rim. He's a grinder, and you don't have a true big. And you look at last night in the fourth quarter, and you had 19 points from 3 guys. Wiggins had 3, Curry had 5, Moody had 11 in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And, Moody didn't finish the quarter.
He only played 13 minutes in the whole game.
He played 7.5 minutes in the fourth.
Yep.
And he was 4 of 4, 3 of 3 from 3, and he had 11 points. So it's a question for Kerr today, for sure at 5 o'clock.
He's already answered it. So the way I'd like to ask it is for him to expand on the second half of his answer. His first part of the answer was, or actually, do we have it right here? Let me see. But yeah, here we go. Here's Steve Kerr last night on the Moody question.
Moses was awesome tonight. We needed to get Wiggs on the floor for defense against Fox. Decided to go with Clay and our vets. We thought about keeping him out there, but we made the move that we made. By the way, Moses was fantastic. Out of the rotation tonight to start the game. Talked to him before the game and explained what we were doing. The guy, he reminds me of Loon. Moses, he's the ultimate pro. Just continues to work every single day, and understands, embraces coaching, embraces the work. Moses, he's a special guy. He's like a wing version of Loon, and that matters. That's why he's going to be in the league for a long time.
All right, so you hear him put all the praise on Moses Moody there. But there's 2 pieces to that answer. One, I think everyone accepts when they say we had to get Wiggins in for his defense.
Right.
Okay, and then he goes, and we thought about it, and then we decided against it. We decided to stick with Clay.
Right.
Well,
right.
What were the considerations there? What goes into that decision and why? Would kind of be my question.
Yeah.
I know it frustrated people because it didn't work out. If Clay had hit a couple of shots, I don't think we're having this conversation today. But
if you win the game,
yeah,
we're not having the conversation.
No, but I always look at it this way. When people are frustrated about something, you have to be frustrated about it in the moment, or else it doesn't count. The rest of it is hindsight is 20/20. You can't just be like, oh, they lost, so now let's go back 5 minutes ago. You took Moody out, that's why. No, didn't you feel people were mad right then?
For sure.
Before Moses even got to the bench.
You can be mad later and it still counts.
No, I know, but I think it's more powerful if you were like, I disagree with this right now, before I know the result. So in other words, even if the Warriors had won, I still would have had the question. Why did you take Moody out?
Right.
And I did, like, the second he's walking out, I'm like, really? Taking him out right now? You guys on a heater.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's a question. And, he mentioned in that cut you just played about Moses not being in the rotation, and Steve explained why. And then you lose CP3 and you lose GP2, and then now you are in the rotation. Okay, go out there and perform. And he performs. And he's the best player on the team in the fourth quarter, and yet you take him out with 4 and change left to go, and you go back to Klay Thompson, which I get it. You want to lean on your veterans, and it's what you've always done, and you've won 4 championships doing just that. But I wonder if now you're going to find a new willingness to do things differently as you get into this new era where your vets aren't what they used to be.
That's the question for me. And the answer may be never, but hey, Warriors.
Hey, Steve.
When would you consider doing something different other than leaning toward the big 3 vets all the time, every time, no matter the situation? That to me, that's the question. That's the question everybody's looking for today. David in San Mateo next up, Willard and Dibs. Hi, David. What are you doing?
Hey, guys. I'm walking the dog.
Walking the dog?
Pile on walking the dog.
All right. And now, has the dog already done the business? Because if it does the business, then you're going to have to put the phone down, and I'd like to know now.
Already done it. Got it in my left hand. I got the bag, that is.
All right.
I'm about to throw it away.
Major bag alert.
Major bag.
We're all good, guys. We're all good.
Let's roll.
Yep. We're all good, so I can pile on to Steve Kerr a little more as well. At some point, in British soccer, all the top managers have this word attached to them, right? Guardiola, Alex Ferguson, Marino, they've all been known to be ruthless, which means if you're not performing, they're going to cut you. And I think Steve Kerr needs a little of that right now, because I feel like I'm watching the definition of insanity. I mean, I get it. We go back to the vets, because the vets have done it for 4 years or for a generation or whatever it is. But I think I've seen it enough here, and that it's not going to have a different result in the last 5 minutes. And then on top of that, like you guys were saying yesterday, there's no joy in that. So if you try something, I mean, you have the deepest. Steve Kerr himself said he's got the deepest team he's ever had, and yet we just go back to that closing five last night. If you try to tinker it, change it up, maybe some joy comes into the game at least. You may lose, but that Brandon Poughkeepsie kid, he sure plays with some joy. So,
yeah.
Congrats, David. That is the 47th version of Brandon Poughkeepsie's name.
Shout out New York.
That we've heard.
Poughkeepsie.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
That's tremendous.
Thank you, David.
Look,
Poughkeepsie, by the way, DNP. And TJD, DNP. So, and David was talking about the joy that might come from playing the younger guys. And
Brandon Poughkeepsie kid.
Yeah, Poughkeepsie kid.
The Poughkeepsie kid. He sounds like a boxer from the 50s. And in this corner, the Poughkeepsie kid.
Brandon Poughkeepsie kid.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Poughkeepsie kid. Add that to the list, Grandy. Pajowski, Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love that we finally reached a moment where everyone is at least starting with P. Like, I feel.
That's true.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, we had a Krasuski.
Yeah, we did.
We got all kinds of stuff going on. Krakowski. So at least everybody knows that the letter P starts the last name.
Right.
And then we'll keep practicing. We'll talk about practice. And we'll get to Pajemski at some point.
And I wonder about the Poughkeepsie kid and why he didn't get to play at all. I mean, sometimes he plays 37 minutes.
Well,
sometimes it's a DNP.
That's the deal when you're the rook. That's the deal.
Yes.
I mean, remember, what was interesting? I mean, they go in with a plan, and as you already just pointed it out, Moses Moody was, quote, not part of the rotation.
Right.
He was supposed to get a DNP last night. And then 2 injuries shoved him in the game. Congrats, Moses, for being ready, as they always tell you to be. And he was. So that's great. But that's, I think, what everybody's wondering is this feels like a broken record. And once you know that it's a broken record, then you got to turn it off. But I also feel like a lot of people are making a leap that I don't know. All I can say is I don't know if this is true or not. I think we've all decided that Clay would go sideways if somebody took something from him. I don't know that that's true. I don't know what would happen. What do you think would happen if Clay played fewer minutes or didn't finish a game?
Well, already we are seeing pouty Clay, and we're seeing angry Clay, and we're seeing combative Clay in press conferences. Can we all agree that we've seen that? And we have
absolutely.
We have contract year Clay, CYK. Mm-hmm. So we have all these things that have led us to a point where I can't imagine that Clay would be, quote, okay with being the one who came out in that game with 4 and change left to go. Wiggins in, Clay, you're out. We're going to go with Moody, the 21 or 22-year-old, to finish this game off because he's been better than you in this quarter.
You know what, though?
I think that we would see sideways Clay.
Maybe. I don't know that you're wrong. However, I do feel like you feel that way a lot about these groups, these Warriors. I remember in the playoffs, you didn't think Draymond would ever come in and accept coming off the bench for a game. Then he came in and he suggested it.
I was surprised, yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine.
It's impressive.
And then Chris Paul, a lot of us There's no way he'll accept coming off the bench. Sure he will.
Right.
Sure he will. Like, are we really? Because here's where my mind goes. If this is how we all feel about Klay, then we shouldn't be complimenting Klay that much. If we really honestly believe that Klay Thompson, like, you want to know what I hear? I think a lot of you are saying Klay's not a team player. That's what it sounds like.
Well, that's what it looks like.
I have no idea what he would do. I get that he's sensitive. Exhibit A is what he did to Tim Kawakami 2 days ago. So I understand it, but don't you have to put your ego away at some point in your career in order to be a team player?
Sure, but you're a 4-time champ, and you've already done that. You've already put your ego away in many ways, and now you're in a contract year. And you can say that it doesn't matter because he's made $260 million or whatever he's made. That's something that you're deciding for him. It looks to me like he is playing for something greater than the overall greater good of the team. He's hunting shots, and he's playing with a certain amount of anger that we've never seen before.
I think he thinks that they need his shot in order to be good, so it is a team thing to hunt it.
Okay.
I think that's what that'd be my guess.
He's 10th from the bottom in field goal percentage in the NBA.
Oh, my
40.4. My brother.
I see the games too. I know.
Of course.
I know. It feels to me like a lot of Warrior fans think that Klay's just flat out not a team player. Or else it's like, dude, and again, I'm not talking about benching him. I'm not talking about making a rule that he's not allowed to play more than 25 minutes. I'm simply saying, could you just stick with Moses last night and have it be okay? I would bet that it would be. I would argue that it has to be. I don't know that it wouldn't be.